I can't hear him.
Hey, I want you guys to have a good impression of us. You guys
Good. Let's go.
And we welcome you to this matchup between Sonora and Escalon. Some technical difficulties earlier in the day, but Ty Harris, his first pass to Trejo is incomplete. This is Caden Christensen right side as he'll get close to a first down. So Caden Christensen, D-Pad, you talked about it last week, 18 carries, 195 yards, 3 touchdowns. He can really run the football.
Yeah, he's a juggernaut on the offensive end, but the key is they have dual running backs in the backfield, Keith, so whenever he wants to get a blow, they just go to the next one.
So now, first down for Escalon High School. Escalon has scored at least 20 points or more in their first 2 contests of the season as Anderson tries to move it up in there for a gain of a couple. Be second and long now. We talked about it in the pregame. Head coach Andrew Beam in his second full season as head coach here at Escalon. Proud tradition, 8 section titles from 1993 on to 2010. Rich football power here, D-Patch.
Oh, yeah, definitely, Keith. They breed football out here in Escalon. It's a farm town out here, and they get down. That's what they do. They do football out here. And I expect them to show up tonight and play a very good ball game.
So now 2nd and 10, and we're going to get a flag here before Escalon can think about getting the football off, and it's a legal substitution, so that'll move them back a couple.
Yeah, they had one too many men in the huddle there, Keith.
So 2nd and 15 now after the illegal substitution on Escalon High School. Moves them back a little farther, and Escalon trying to get better at avoiding the penalties. D-Patch had over 75 yards of penalties when it was all said and done. 10 penalties last week for 100 yards. They got to clean that up.
Yeah, definitely. The penalties were a killer for them. Today they're looking to cut that in half. You don't want to have anywhere near that amount of penalties. 2nd and 15, this is a good start here for Sonora. They would love to get him in a punt situation.
Harris in the shotgun. Scrambles to his right. Going to fire it to the right side. That pass is caught as Souza will move the chains. Get close to a first down there as Souza, the senior with a great snag on the right side, will move the chains. First down, Escalon.
Keister with the tackle there.
First down now for Escalon High School. Harris back in the shotgun. Pinero to his left. Rolls out left. Harris on the move. And he is wrestled down ferociously on the keeper by Kamara, who plays center on that offensive line. He got him there as Harris tried to make something happen with his legs, D-Patch. Nothing doing there.
No good defensive stand there. That'll bring up a 2nd and long, similar as they had on the last drive, or on the last part of this drive. Let's see if they can stop him on this set of downs, Keith.
So we will see now as 2nd and 9. This time Harris will go under center. Hand it off right side as Christensen finds a hole. Makes one man miss, and Christensen down the field for a gain of about 15. First down, Escalon. Caden Christensen over 150 yards rushing last week. He's off to a great start in this first drive.
Oh, yeah, he's already got over 20 yards on the ground in just a couple of carries here, Keith. And that tackle will be made by Josiah Bradford.
So Christensen gets the first down. In the process, we get free water from the great people here at Escalon High School. Big turnout here for the Cougar faithful. First down now. Harris going to hand it left side. The give is going to be to Anderson, who gets a couple. Luke Anderson, who had a pretty good game last week as well. D-Pad, he had about 50 yards or more rushing. He's their bruiser back. They're going to use him throughout the night as well.
Yeah, they list him as a fullback here, Keith, and but he gets enough carries to call him the backup running back for sure. And with Harris on the ground running as well, it's almost a triple in the backfield.
It's a triangle running back system as the handoff to Pinero will be all for naught. It'll be a false start. It'll move Escalon back. So the penalties continuing to cripple Escalon High School. All the talent in the world, but still these penalties last week and now the first drive here this week, D-Pad, really crippling them.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll put them back into about 2nd and 9 here again. And this will be the 4th time on this drive that Sonora has had them in a 2nd and long. So what they want to do is get that to a 3rd and long. They haven't got there yet.
Sonora High School head coach Brian Craig said in the Union Democrat this week his team needs to play more like a team and come together. This is the time. Harris Throws it to the right side. That pass is caught. It's Trejo who is still trying to gain some extra yards. He is wrestled down there.
That was an interesting result there, Keith. So that ball was caught in front of the sticks. It would have been a first down, but he ran backwards, did Trejo. Oh, they're going to give him the first down anyway. It looked like for a minute they were going to mark him a yard short of the first down here. As you see, he goes backwards after the broken tackle. He goes backwards a few steps.
So Brewer tries to push back Trejo, all for naught. It's a first down regardless for Escalon.
In the red zone here, Keith, let's see if they can get in the end zone on their first red zone drive.
So now the Cougars go to work deep in enemy territory.
Almost eating half the first quarter clock here on the first drive, Keith.
Harris hands it off. Pinero left side, and he will be wrestled down inside the hash marks. Gain of a couple. McDonald on the stop.
Kamara was in there again on the stop as well. They list him at 6'3", 270 pounds, outweighs the rest of his teammates by, except for one guy, by almost 100 pounds.
So now another second and mid to long for Escalon High School.
Yeah, that's 5 times in a row they've had that situation, but on the second down play, they've really come through. Let's see if Sonora can buckle down here.
Give left side. Still going is Pinero, who inches closer and closer to the goal line. It was Ferris on the stop.
It was a good tackle there. That's going to bring up a third down situation here for them. 3rd and about 4. That's a reasonable chance to stop them here, Keith, but depending on how many yards they gain or don't gain here, possibly a 4-down situation.
Escalon has done a good job deep pads the last 2 weeks of cashing in 6 points as opposed to 3. 3rd down now. Harris gives it up the middle. Anderson trucks his way inside. They haven't signaled touchdown yet. They will. Touchdown, Luke Anderson. And Luke Anderson will complete the 5+ play drive. 6-0 Escalon. And just like that deep patch, that offense so deadly, strikes first.
Yeah, on a 3rd and 4 there, Keith, they did nothing but a simple dive up the middle. It was nothing special or fancy about that. It was just my guys versus your guys. Let's see who wins the battle. And it was clean, easy 14-yard scamper up the middle. That offensive line there, Keith, impressive.
A drive finished here for Escalon High School that results in 6 off the run by Luke Anderson. Barrientos tacks on the extra point, and just like that, the deadly offense for the Cougars of Escalon High School strikes first. They lead Sonora 7-0 at the 7:05 mark in the first quarter here on NorCal Sports TV. And while we have this break in the action, I want to thank some of our sponsors here at NorCal Sports TV. Benton Robertson CPAs. Benton Robertson CPAs provides personalized tax, accounting, and financial guidance to individuals and businesses throughout Tuolumne and Stanislaus County. Our team believes in partnering with you and your team to build lasting relationships that help you achieve your financial goals. Give us a call today and experience the Benton Robertson difference. We look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back. 7-0. Escalon High School here on NorCal Sports TV. Luke Anderson punching it in up the middle deep edge as Barrientos back now to kick it off as we will see this Sonora High offense for the first time tonight. A mid-ranger. Taking it now is Bradford. Bradford up the middle. Makes one man miss. Bradford still going, and he's inside Escalon territory just like that. Josiah Bradford off the kickoff return, and he makes a count deep patch. He went straight up the middle and almost broke it for 6.
Yeah, that was an excellent return there, Keith, and he had to catch the ball behind him a little awkwardly, but that's what happens when you kick a line drive kickoff like that. You're not giving your kickoff team enough chance to get down the field, and by the time he caught the ball, he had about 20 or 30 yards in front of him to run where there was just nobody there. A big hole right up the middle.
So here comes quarterback Nick Crockett and his Wildcats offense. Right side. Morgan still going. Morgan down the right side. He's tripped up.
Looks like an illegal block, or they're going to call a hold right there. And you saw it thrown right when it was happening. And offensive lineman wasn't really happy with that call.
Nope, not at all, D-Page, as Morgan's run all for naught, and he will, as well as him and the other Wildcats, will be pushed back farther. 10 yards from the spot of the foul, D-Page. And this is a Sonora team. We talked about it. They have not gotten off to the best start, have not scored a whole lot of points. This first drive, very important for their confidence if they're going to have any chance tonight of beating an Escalon team undefeated and firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, definitely. That was probably the last thing they wanted to see on their first play there, Keith. They got a great kickoff return. They were in positive side of the field already, and now they're back to a 1st and 20.
1st and 20, as you mentioned, D-Page. Crockett under center. Crockett going to keep it himself left side, still going, as he is finally taken down. Tackle made by Souza, the defensive back, as well as a plethora of other Escalon Cougars in on that tackle.
Give him just maybe 2 yards there, Keith.
So, 2nd and 18 now. And Sonora head coach Brian Craig says this team needs to start playing like a team. Justin Morgan in the Union Democrats say we got to cut down on mistakes. And that penalty was a big mistake thus far on this drive. 2nd and 18. Crockett pitches it out. Morgan, spin move. Still going. Still moving his feet. Morgan not down yet. And he'll inch closer and closer to that 3rd down marker. Justin Morgan, who scored the only points for Sonora last week in their loss against Ripon. Kickoff return and a rushing touchdown. So Morgan is deadly. He can move with the football in his hands, D-Patch.
Yeah, that was an excellent run there, fighting for the extra few yards. Give him a 9-yard run. No, actually a 7-yard run. It's 3rd and 11 here. Tackle there from Luke Anderson.
Under 4 minutes to play in the first quarter. The first 3rd down attempt here for Sonora High School tonight. Crockett will work from under center. Back to pass. Goes downfield. That pass is incomplete. Almost caught. Intended for Morgan. They move the running back out onto the slot, but he cannot bring it in, and that will bring up 4th down.
Garrett Nash with a great play in the secondary there, Keith. That ball probably would have been caught if Nash wasn't able to strip that away at the last minute. That's textbook cornerback play.
So Nash does great work on the outside against Morgan on the left, and that will bring up 4th down now for Sonora, as Christensen will be back to return this punt for the Cougars of Escalon High School. I want to thank you for joining us again here on NorCal Sports TV. Friday Night Football, Week 3. Crockett, the quarterback, becomes a punter. This one is a beauty, and there to receive it at the 1-yard line is going to be Bauer. So great special teams by Sonora. That pins Escalon back at their own 5-yard line.
And you know
inside their own 5-yard line.
And you know what, Keith? When you're 0-2 and you're getting dominated on the scoring, that's something to be positive about. That's something that they can be very happy on the sideline about. Now you're making your opponent go 99 yards. Little to say, Escalon could probably get it done, but they're making it that much harder for them. Now if you hold them to a 3-and-out right here on the goal line, keep the punt out of the end zone.
So the first drive for Escalon resulted in a touchdown, courtesy of Anderson's run up the middle. Harris gives it off this time. It's Anderson again. He runs into Bauer in multiple white jerseys. Gain of about 3 or 4 on that one.
Good stop from the defense there from Sonora, but I feel like, especially with the touchdown run on the prior drive with the 14 yards right up the middle, 2nd and 7 here, they may do the same thing. 2 plays in a row. Try to get this first down.
This will undoubtedly be one of the toughest drives of the year thus far for Escalon. They are pinned back, D-Page, inside their own 5-yard line here. They're going to have to go the length of the field to get some points. 2nd down now. The handoff is to Christensen right side. Christensen bounces it out. Christensen turns on the burners. 1 man to beat. Christensen still going. Big play down the field. Caden Christensen on the toss. Tackle made by Bradford, but not before Christensen gets it to the Escalon 40.
backbreaker there for the Sonora defense, Keith. They had him on the goal line, and Christensen just burst up the middle. And he's nearing the 100-yard marker already. He's got about 65 here in the first quarter, Keith.
Big run there by Caden Christensen. As we mentioned, almost had a 200-yard rushing game last week, 3 touchdowns. And Sonora talked about it today in the papers. If they're going to have any chance of winning this game, Dustin Padgett, they've got to stop this run and attack. Easier said than done. First down now. Play action. Harris rolls to his left. Down the middle. That pass is dropped by Pinero. Pinero was wide open, D-Patch. He just simply dropped it.
Yeah, Pinero, one of their captains here, Keith. They've got 5 captains here listed. Him and Harris make a great combination in the backfield there.
So Pinero cannot haul in the pass off the bootleg from Harris. Second down now. But you've seen it already, D-Pad. There's a reason this offense has scored more than 20 points the first 2 weeks of the season. Second down now. Up the middle is Anderson. Anderson still going as he trucks his way forward for a first down. That'll be right at the 50-yard line, but another flag, and it's going to be a hold on Escalon High School.
Yeah, Keith, I saw that flag being thrown. That was a toss-up. I feel like that was an iffy call there. But if you notice on the run there, Christensen, he is having his way up the middle. Or Luke Anderson, up the middle with Anderson and Christensen on the outside. That is a deadly combo.
So that now brings back Escalon High School 10 yards now. And really, D-Pad, I mean, you've seen it. The big plays come in bunches for Escalon, but the penalties have killed them today, and you can't do that against quality teams as we go further into the season.
Yeah, definitely. Very good thing to say there, Keith. Further in the season, this is not going to work if you keep committing these penalties.
Hand off to Pinero. Breaks one tackle. Still going. And he basically gets all the yards nearly back that Anderson gained from the penalty. As Pinero this time up the middle. Gain about 18, D-Patch.
Yeah, and that should have been about 8. The last 10 yards there was pure effort from Pinero and lack of tackling from the Sonora Wildcats here, Keith. Should have been a 3rd and long. Now it's 3rd and 2.
Another defensive lap by Sonora, and that will make the 3rd down attempt here for the Cougars that much easier.
3rd down for Cougars.
Let's see if they run the ball up the gut here with Anderson, Keith.
3rd down. Harris hands it off to Anderson. He is taken down by Bradford, but not before he converts that 3rd down attempt into a first down.
Yeah, their offensive line is dominating the point of contact here, Keith. They're pushing the defense back 2-3 yards at a time. I mean, that really wasn't a fancy play on a 3rd and 3, but he got 6 yards. Was not a problem to get the first down there.
So they've used Christensen mostly on the outside. Anderson having no trouble getting his yards on the inside. This running attack that we talked about earlier, D-Padge, firing on all cylinders. First down now. This one at the Sonora 49, we'll call it. Shotgun. Christensen breaks one as he tries to get back to the line of scrimmage. He'll lose about 1 there. And inside on that play were a number of Sonora High Wildcats, McDonald, Taylor, and Hagstrom, to name a couple.
Yeah, that play got off to a bad start with the snap, Keith, and that shows to show how important the snapper is in the game of football. A lot of people don't realize that's an important job, and once that snap was high, it ruined the momentum of the play, and it allowed for Sonora to get their first negative play on the ground. So
we got another flag here.
False start. Ooh,
another illegal substitution on Escalon. So the 2nd drive of the game and the 2nd illegal substitution penalty moves Escalon back that much farther. And under a minute to go, Dustin, and with the amount of big plays that Escalon's had, they're still only up 7-0. You got to consider yourself pretty lucky if you're Sonora to be in this position thus far.
Well, 6 penalties here in the first quarter, including 2 illegal substitutions. You know, that's a head scratcher in itself. After the first one, you feel like the coach probably would have gotten on him on the sideline. 2nd and long. Let's see if Sonora could actually do something here and get the ball back.
Harris gonna want it all. Got his man incomplete.
A flag on the play there, and it looks like we are going to get a pass interference. I would assume D-pad. We got one in behind the backfield, way behind the backfield, and one where the pass was incomplete to Panero.
Holding on the offensive line on the left tackle, and they're going to call a PI in the backfield. Don't know about that PI. Oh, no. Personal foul, roughing the passer. Oh, geez. They decline the PI and take the roughing the passer. Let's see if that's a... Oh, yep, that was a hard hit.
So they'll accept the roughing the passer penalty. Escalon will decline the defensive pass interference, and that'll inch them a little closer. Under 15 seconds here in the first quarter, 7-0 advantage for Escalon. This high-powered offense has had multiple big plays, D-Pad, but numerous penalties have pushed them back. However, this time they finally get a penalty in their favor on the defense of the Wildcats of Sonora High School. And this ball will be placed at Sonora's 40-yard line. 1st and 10, a fresh set of downs for Escalon High.
Yeah, Keith, that was a backbreaker there for Sonora. That's at least the third time we've seen 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20, and they're getting the first downs. Now, that one was done via the penalty, but either way, you got to stop them on those 2nd and forevers.
Harris gives it off to Christensen right side as he will inch a little closer towards that first down marker, and that will be the final play of the first quarter. A penalty-filled first quarter for Escalon High School, but they are up 7-0 on Sonora, who is looking for their first win of the contest and the season. Here on NorCal Sports TV, we'll be right back. 7-0 Escalon over Sonora.
They've got some camo block hats, snapback, and flex pits, stadium chair.
15 yards. That was an excellent run there on 3rd down and 5. They did the pitch, they did the fake, the misdirection. I like it, mixing it up a little bit on the offensive end, and they're going to add the 15 yards to it. So that's going to turn into about a 30-yard plus play for Sonora, what they were looking for, Keith.
Right you are, D-Padge, on that penalty. It is a horse collar tackle, and as we talked about, Escalon, arguably the most talented team in the area, but these penalties are just holding them back from playing a complete game.
Yeah, that's 8 penalties here so far, and we've only played through 1 quarter in a minute. And I don't believe Sonora has 1 penalty. Was a big one on their very first offensive play, but 8 penalties to 1. Escalon is by far losing the penalty battle.
1st 10. Up the middle.
Straight ahead goes the fullback.
As it is going to be Costavili up the middle. McDonald with the tackle.
Looked like that was McKernan here, Keith, the fullback. And you know what? They're taking a book out of the Cougars' book by just running up the middle. They just ran that ball right up the gut, kind of like Anderson did, and they got 4 yards on 1st down. I mean, if your offensive line wins the battle, that is a positive play to have.
2nd and 6.
2nd and 6 now. Crockett hands it off. It's McKernan again. McKernan on the right side, rumbling and bumbling, and he's got a 1st down and more.
And looks like we may have an injured Cougar there on the tackle, holding his hand
see
here.
Who it is, and it looks to be Pinero.
Yep.
Who banged up his hand on that tackle. As McKernan gets more than a couple for the 1st down. You see here on the replay, D-Padge, Camacho had him, but could not bring him down, and McKernan bounced off him, ran to the right for more than a couple. 1st down now for the Wildcats.
Love those last 2 plays from Sonora, the last 3 plays. The 2 runs from McKernan and the run right before that. Awesome. They need to continue working the ground game here.
Back to pass. Deep ball. Crockett overthrows his man. It looks like that one was intended for Bauer.
Personal foul.
Roughing the passer, Keith. I didn't see that. What I did notice, though, is that ball was thrown well out of range. Seems like Crockett doesn't have a good cohesiveness with his wide receiver there. He had 2 of them out there, but there was nothing really doing.
Well, the football is overthrown, but Crockett is bailed out because of the roughing the passer penalty. Another penalty for Escalon High School. And if you're Andrew Beam right now, D-Padge, you can't like what you're seeing right now. There's too many penalties.
No, and if you're the special teams coach here for Escalon is probably tearing his hair out right now. I mean, everything that they've been doing as far as the penalties go has been wrong. They've committed almost every penalty that there is to commit here in the early going.
Ball at the Escalon 21, 1st and 10. Pitch to the left. Big time tackle on Costavili. And on that play is going to be Anderson with the tackle.
Christensen was in there as well. Nice. Interesting that the 2 running backs, Christensen and Anderson, are also both combining for a tackle on the defensive side.
8:42 to play in the 1st half now. Bradford will check in on offense. This is the farthest that Sonora has gotten all day. They're trying to convert this into some desperate points here.
Hey, touchdown here makes it a 7-point game, Keith.
Crockett hands it up to Costavili, who will break the tackle, but not before McDonald gets there. Tavera was there on the stop as well.
Give him about 3 or 4 yards, though, and that's a positive play. It's going to bring up about 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6-ish.
Camacho there as well, D-Padge, so we've got about 3rd and 5, like you mentioned. What do you expect them to draw up here?
You know, I liked the 3rd and 4 play they had on the other end of the field where they did the misdirection and a pitch the opposite way. You know, trick the defense a little bit, catch him off guard. I feel like we're going to see something like that here just because we haven't seen him complete any passes here yet, Keith. So, yes, it may be a throwing down, but I feel like a run's coming here.
Crockett drops back, dumps it off. That pass incomplete, way too high for Costavili. And that will bring up 4th down. An errant pass by Crockett. And despite numerous penalties, Escalon's defense bends, but it doesn't break. And they set up a 4th down now.
Yep, it looks like we will get a field goal attempt. And right before this drive, that's what I said. Even if it's just a field goal, you want to get something going here. Crockett's off, field goal kicker on. Make it about a 35-yard field goal. Definitely makeable. Ooh, changed it up. Crockett's back.
that Brian Craig will go for it.
Yep, Crockett came back on the field here, Keith.
So here we go. Sonora High School going for it on 4th down here. They want 6. Crockett back to pass. Gonna go for it all. Incomplete, but a flag on the play.
Pass interference there, Keith, and you know what? That did not need to be made. The ball was high in the air, and Crockett does a good job to give his receiver time, but the defense did not need to commit that PI there. He very well could have gone up and battled for the ball. Instead, he grabs his arm. A blunder there for the defense, and that is now the 10th penalty in the early going for Escalon.
And it's another roughing the passer penalty at Escalon, as that pass intended for Josiah Bradford. It looks like it was Trejo on the pass interference, but another roughing the passer call, and that will give Sonora new life as the risk to go for it on 4th down by Brian Craig and his Wildcats will pay off. 7:21 to go, 1st and goal. Crockett, ball's on the ground.
He got it back, Keith.
And it looks like you're right, Crockett did get it back, so 2nd down, almost a very costly turnover there for Sonora High School.
Yeah, Keith, that ball gets turned over there this game. There'd be no looking back on this game here. They're already overmatched. They need to get something going. They're in the red zone. And the one positive thing that I did mention earlier, while they haven't controlled the clock has been moving quickly. The Escalon has had a couple of long drives. We're getting near the halfway point of the 2nd quarter. A touchdown here makes it a 7-point game, almost near halftime.
So now 2nd and goal as Crockett and his offense dodge a bullet on the fumble recovery. Middle. And it's going to be Luke Anderson as you hear the crowd in the background chant Luke on the big stop there, and it's 3rd and goal, D-Badge.
Yeah, 3rd and about 8 here, Keith, and I don't know. We'll see if it's 4-down territory. They went for it just a moment ago. They may do so again. We don't know their field goal kicker situation right now, so if this is 4-down territory and coach knows that in the huddle as we speak, they may not go for the 7 here. They may try to make it more reasonable on a 4th down play. You need 9 yards. They may even run it again here. It all depends on what they're going to do on 4th down.
Crockett under center. Drops back to pass. Evades one person. To the corner. Incomplete.
Pass is incomplete.
May kick the field goal here, Keith, on 4th and 9.
Trejo breaks up the pass attempt. Bauer was the receiver that Crockett wanted. And that will bring up another 4th down. And what do you do here if you are Brian Craig? You got bailed out by a penalty the first time when you went for it. Looks like they're going to go for it again.
I would kick the field goal, especially in the way this game has progressed. I mean, you want to grab some of the momentum back, and 70-yard drive is great, but if you come out with no points here, that's a big blow.
Crockett under center. Drops back. Throws it behind the receiver. Incomplete. Turnover on downs. Escalon High School, no penalties that time, D-Badge. They finally get the stop that they needed.
Yeah, Crockett was being rushed. That was not his fault, the errant throw. Somebody was about to nail him right there. And he did have the one-on-one coverage he wanted, and if that throw was accurate, it may have been a touchdown, but ball was 5 yards behind his receiver. No chance there, Keith. And that's a big blow for the Wildcats.
So Crockett and the Wildcats go all that length of the field for naught. They don't get any points coming away this time, and now it'll be Ty Harris and Escalon back on offense. Harris hands it off.
Harris will give to Christensen.
Christensen trucks his way up the middle for a gain of a couple with 5:42 to play in the 2nd quarter. What have you seen from Caden Christensen that you've liked so far, D-Pad? We've seen the tape. Now we see him in person. I mean, he's all that in a bag of chips, isn't he?
Well, I could just take a cop out here, Keith, and say everything because that is true. But I will tell you what I do like from him is his craftiness. He's not the fastest player on the field here, Keith, but he's very crafty and he knows how to hit his holes. We saw on that screen pass that he was able to read his block perfectly, hit the right spot of the field, and waltz into the end zone for the touchdown.
Harris now in the shotgun. To the right side. Just off the fingertips of Trejo, who was moving down that right sideline, D-Patch, but he can't come up with it. And that was great coverage on that play by the defensive back, Hearns.
Yeah, that was a great job there from the defensive back. However, he was beat by about a half a yard. A perfect throw there would have been caught, but you know what? That ball was about 40 yards down the field. I don't blame Harris for not being able to make that one.
So now Harris on a 3rd and 3 will line up with his Escalon offense. And if you're Sonora, a grand opportunity here to flip the field position.
Yeah, but they may run it to Anderson again, you know, like they did last time on 3rd and short. Oh!
Up the middle, and it looks like they did give it to Anderson. He's
Stop
still
him.
going.
No, but he stopped. He's about 1 yard, 2 yards short, Keith, and what a job there.
But they will give him the first down. So McDonald makes the tackle, but Anderson still showing the effort, and he will convert that 3rd down to a new set of downs.
Yeah, that's the second effort there was able to get him the necessary yardage. I was watching the lines downman here, and he was not in the right position, but they will give him the 3 yards there, first down.
Fresh set of downs now. Christensen with the toss on the right side. He'll get a couple there, and it just seems like Escalon High School, they've shot themselves in the foot all night. Deep pageant penalties, up 14-0. You just got to imagine what this team would be able to do if they played with no penalties and no mistakes. They're already a tough team, but with that, they could be unstoppable.
Yeah, that's a very good point here, Keith. This game could very well be 28, 35-0, something like that right now, but looks like the final 4 minutes, they're probably going to look to make this the final drive, taking their time here.
Harris looking for his receiver up the middle as that pass hits the turf, and that was for Trejo once again, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
That was good pressure up the middle there from Bradford, forced the errant throw. And now it's a 3rd and 7. A little bit too far to run the ball, which is obviously the strength of the Cougars. So we're going to get a timeout here called for the Wildcats. I don't mind that, you know, try to make sure this is a pretty important play here, Keith, on 3rd and long. If they can get the ball punted back to them, then they'll have 4 minutes left to maybe get that touchdown that they couldn't get on the last drive.
So Sonora High School, who did not come up with any points after they went for it twice on 4th down their last drive, now looking to stop Escalon High School in this high-powered offense with Harris and Christensen and Anderson here on a big 3rd down play. And obviously it's, like you mentioned, D-Padge, 3rd and 7, so I'm assuming, as you are, partner, that this would not be the ideal play to run the football, but the way they've ran it so far, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't have to fix it.
Yeah, true. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they ran it here. I mean, that's not what you would think would be the typical move on a 3rd and 7, but they've had nothing but success on the ground all year long, and nothing but success today as well. They've got well over 100 yards on the ground rushing, combined with Anderson and Christensen, and we're not even at halftime yet.
3:59 to play in the first half. NorCal Sports TV, 3rd and 7 here for Escalon High School. Harris back to pass. Rush coming. Gonna try and dump it off, but that pass incomplete as it hits the grass once again.
It's gonna bring up a 4th down.
4th down now for Escalon. So Sonora gets the stop that they needed here, as that pass to Christensen was in the dirt, incomplete.
Yeah, that was the biggest play of the game up to this point for the Wildcats. Very important one. They just lost the momentum when they went down the field, got stalled on the goal line, and they're finally able to get their first defensive stop of this game, which should give them pretty good field position for the final drive of this half upcoming here.
So Morgan back to return this punt for Sonora. This one is a low line driver. Morgan trying to avoid the football. He finally picks it up. Still on the move. Justin Morgan breaking a couple of tackles. He is elusive, and he is inside enemy territory with a great punt return there, D-Padge. So Morgan did not want any part of the football to start that punt return. He picks it up, and he converts into a whole bunch of yards. And as we talked about earlier, Morgan, he had a kickoff return last week for a touchdown. He is deadly with that football in his hands.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my thoughts there, Keith, on that kick return. The coach yelled out to him, pick it up, pretty loudly. He didn't like the fact that Morgan was backing away from the ball, and you got to give him all the credit there. Once he picked the ball up, he had a defender right in his face. He was able to juke him and get an extra 25 yards out of that return.
Crockett will hand it off up the middle. Still going is Crockett, who didn't hand it off at all. He's got it himself. He's still going. What a run by Nick Crockett, and what a fake out.
Nick Crockett.
But not before a flag is coming in at the end of that play.
Believe this will be a late hit because when the flag was thrown, it was after he was down. Yep, that's going to be a late hit, Keith, and that's a face mask. And you know what? These penalties are really becoming a talking point here. I mean, they've got well over 150 yards of penalties here in the first half. That's the 12th penalty, Keith.
So Crockett keeps it himself, and after a great fake out up the middle, will get a face mask penalty to boot. So Sonora right back where they were, nearly D-Patch, where they did not come away with any points, and they will try to convert this one finally into some points here.
We're at a crux in this game, Keith. The momentum is on their side right now. They just got a defensive stop, and then they got a great run from Crockett. That was their best offensive play of the game. Now he needs to put the ball in the end zone.
Crockett pitches it to the outside. It's Morgan, still going. Morgan, not in just yet, they say.
No, and he might be about a yard short of the first down marker. It's going to be close, but you know what? That was an excellent tackle. Great run from Morgan, but a good tackle to hold him out of the end zone. See, yep, it'll be 2nd and 1.
So Justin Morgan first gets a great punt return to set up shop for Sonora on a high note and almost gets their first points of the contest. It'll be 2nd and 1 now.
2nd and 1 on the 6. Your clock is your friend right now. You don't want to give the ball back to Escalon with much time on the clock. If they go into halftime here down 14-7, Keith, they'll be doing jumping jacks in the locker room.
Sonora sends 2 wide receivers to the left side, 1 to the right as
timeout.
We're going to get a timeout from Sonora High School here with 2:15 to go in the first half. Thank you if you're just joining us here on NorCal Sports TV. Keith Joganos alongside my friend, my partner, the football encyclopedia of knowledge, Dustin Padgett. And D-Padge, a lot of people in the local papers, in the local media thought that Escalon was going to blow the doors off Sonora High School this week. That has not been the case. Yes, they're up 14-0, but no, the penalties have kept Sonora in this contest thus far.
Yes, you nailed it on the head. Without the penalties, this would be a much different affair. Escalon has to clean it up. You were talking about that before this game. That was one of your talking points. You said last week they had a lot of penalties, and the coach was saying they wanted to clean that up a bit. They've gone the opposite direction. I can tell you one thing. Coach Beam in the locker room, that's probably going to be his whole halftime speech is talking about penalties.
So here we go again. Crockett under center now on 2nd and 1. And it looks like we're going to get a false start penalty.
Offsides.
Actually, an offside. It's going to be an encroachment on Escalon High School.
That was an awesome head fake there from Crockett, showing a little bit of headiness here for the high school quarterbacks. You know, that's an NFL play there. You know, I love to see something like that.
So now it's going to be a first down and 1st and goal.
On the 2, yeah. I mean, they got
only imagine
4 plays here to get a couple of yards. I expect them to run the ball up the gut here and just try to pound it in the end zone.
Gives it up the middle.
Give him about a yard and a half there. He's going to be a little short. You see Crockett holding up his hand saying he's about 6 inches short here. So they're on the goal line now, Keith. 2nd and goal on the 1-inch yard line.
Anderson makes the stop up the middle
2nd and goal.
As McKernan gets him that much closer on 2nd and goal. 1 more yard, and Sonora will have their first points of the football game.
Now on our car right up here, Keith, one thing I was mentioning to you, and even on our pregame show last week, clock control is important for them, and we've noticed it on this drive in specific. They're taking that play clock all the way down. Coach knows what's going on. He doesn't want to give the Cougars the ball back with any time to score on the other end here, Keith.
Up the middle.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Sonora High School. It's going to be Mike McKernan.
The fullback. Nice run there. Smart, heads up, drive. Excellent job here for the Wildcats to cut this lead in half. And they took the clock all the way down to 1.5 minutes now. Cougars do have 3 timeouts, Keith, so that they will have themselves a little bit of time to work here. But McKernan with the touchdown scamper right up the gut. A half-yard run. Yep, that's McKernan, number 21.
So McKernan puts it in.
No good.
But no good on the extra point. So Sonora gets 6, but they can't come away with 7. But nonetheless, D-Padge, those are some points that Sonora High School desperately needed to make it now 14-6 Escalon High School.
Yeah, they'll be totally happy with that. Yeah, granted, they want that extra point, and we'll look down later in the game to see if that comes into play. But at the moment, if they go into the locker room at 14-6, they are going to be stoked. They get the ball to start the third quarter, Keith. So if they can find a way to get off the field here in this last minute 27 without allowing any more points, then they come out and build off the touchdown drive they just had. And let's say they score another one. All of a sudden, it could be a tie game early third quarter in a matchup which not just you and I, but as you said, the whole area, the whole city of Escalon felt was going to be a blowout tonight.
Well, it is far from a blowout so far, and it's right here on NorCal Sports TV. Keith Jogonatis, Dustin Padgett with you. After that last touchdown run up the gut by Mike McKernan, it is now 14-6 Escalon High School, but that has not stopped a raucous student section as they are back in it. They've given out some free T-shirts, and they're right back up on their feet for the kickoff here.
I believe that's the first time at a high school football game I've seen them giving away free shirts for the crowd like that. That's pretty cool, Keith.
Panero back deep to receive this kickoff. It's a low-line driver. They're going to pitch it back. It's Panero. It's actually Christensen who's going up the middle, and he will get more than a couple as this will start out the Escalon 40-yard line, this drive, with 1:19 to play.
Yeah, we don't know what their field goal situation is like, but with only a minute 19 on the clock, you're not playing for a touchdown here. They're hoping to get maybe 30, 40 yards, get themselves down the field into field goal range. The one benefit that the Cougars have right now is they saved all 3 of their timeouts. Wildcats, as you've seen, have used a couple of theirs, but Cougars got 3 timeouts, need 60 yards in a minute.
Ty Harris in the shotgun on 1st and 10.
Harris
Has time. Right side.
has Trejo.
That pass complete to Trejo, who tries to get out of bounds, but they say he will not as the clock continues to run here on the reception from Trejo.
If I was Coach Beam there, I would have called the timeout immediately. You have 3 of them. You can't take them into the locker room with you. They just lost 25 seconds off the clock there.
Under a minute to go. It's going to be Harris finding his receiver in stride. First down as the clock will stop as he finds Panero for a first down conversion.
They're still about 25 yards away from a reasonable field goal attempt here, Keith, and we're down under 40 seconds. They're going to need to put the ball down the field a little bit.
Harris rolls out, and he was looking for Trejo there, but that pass hit the ground, and it's going to be 2nd and 10.
That actually benefits the Cougars there. I don't believe they want that ball caught. It would have been maybe a 5-yard, 7-yard gain at most, and he wasn't going to be able to get out of bounds, and you're running very thin on clock here. Kind of surprised in the last couple of plays that were down in the field that Coach Beam isn't using a timeout. Again, you can't take them into the locker room with you. You may as well use them, and if you're trying to score some points here before the half, that would have been the key thing to do. Now they're in a situation where they've just got enough time for a couple of plays left, so they're going to have to throw the ball down the field here a good 10, 15, 20 yards. Otherwise, they're not making the best use of their time here, Keith.
Barrientos' longest field goal this season has been from 38 yards. 2nd down. Harris with the time. Goes for it all. That pass caught up the middle. Touchdown. It's going to be Trejo. And just like that, Escalon strikes right back.
That was huge there, Keith. And you know what? That ball on the snap, Harris wasn't even ready for it. That makes that play even that much better. When they snapped the ball to Harris, he wasn't even looking. He was looking the other direction. Watch that. See if we get a replay of it. See, Harris is like, oh, there's the ball right in my stomach. Bad defensive coverage there in the secondary. I don't know what they were thinking, Keith. That's really a backbreaker. I mean, the last thing that they could have afforded there was to do what they just did, were the Wildcats. And on the other side, the Cougars, give them all the credit in the world. 40 seconds later, they put the touchdown right back on the board.
A low-line drive, extra point is good. And just like that, off the middle shot from Harris, over the middle to Trejo. It's 21-6 Escalon High School with 33 seconds remaining in the first half here on NorCal Sports TV. We talked about it, D-Pads. This offense, so lethal, so full of life. And they strike once again. And just like that of your snore, you talked about it. You needed a defensive stop, and you didn't get it right there. Total blown coverage that resulted in a touchdown.
Yeah, Keith, I mean, all you had to do was keep the ball in front of you. It's at that point of the drive, it really felt like the Cougars were just going to try to get into field goal range. And, you know, you give them the only thing you can't do is a wide open secondary behind you. Like I said, backbreaker. It's going to be a tough thing to come back from here. Really, their only hope is to, in the third quarter, when they start the ball in the third quarter, is to go down and score a touchdown. I mean, unless they score a touchdown here in 30 seconds, but If they can come back at the beginning of the third quarter, put the points on the board, they'll have a chance. If not, I feel like Escalon's going to start to pick up the pace here in the second half.
Bradford and Morgan back to return the kickoff here from Barrientos. This one traveling a long distance as it stays in bounds.
Bauer picks it up.
Bauer has no choice but to pick it up. He is met by a slew of Escalon return tacklers. It's Fontes on the tackle.
Fontes, tackle.
Probably going to take a knee on it here and just run it into the halftime, deep into their own field.
Less than 30 seconds to go in the first half. Escalon High School, numerous penalties, yet they still are up by 15 points. Deep patch.
Yeah, so it was a close game here just moments ago. That touchdown was such a key touchdown for them.
So we'll see what Ryan Craig, head coach here for his Wildcats, wants to do. Up 21-6. They're not going to run it. Crockett under center. Up the middle.
McDonald, the ball
McDonald loses the ball. It's picked up by Escalon High School.
Cougar football.
They've got it. Escalon High School just made Sonora's plans a little bit harder.
So with 18 seconds left here, Keith, not quite in field goal range yet, but you don't need much. I expect them to just try to get maybe 5 or 10 yards, call a timeout, and try to kick a field goal here, Keith.
Well, we'll see what Beam and his Cougars want to do. Harris in the shotgun. Rolls out to his right. Right side. That pass caught in stride. It's going to be Panero.
10 seconds remaining.
10 seconds to go, and D-Pad, Escalon right in position to put 6 more on the board.
Yeah, but they're on the 12-yard line. May just kick a field goal here.
9 seconds to go.
They're going to go one more play before trying a field goal attempt.
Harris under center. He's got Anderson in the backfield. Drops back to pass. Plenty of time. Floats it left side. That pass is caught.
Looking for Trejo.
Touchdown.
Nope, he's down short.
They're going to call him down the 1-yard line.
He's going to be short.
2 seconds to go as it looked like Trejo might have had
Timeout, Cougar.
the touchdown, but heads up by head coach Beam to call that timeout. So now you're on the 2-yard line with 2 seconds to go, D-Patch.
Yeah, and I don't see why they'll kick a field goal here, especially when the way they've been running the ball up the middle. They're going to go for the touchdown and for the backbreaker. And you know what? That's why when I said with 33 seconds, you might just see Sonora just take a knee to take it into halftime, especially after giving up a touchdown. They try to run the ball one time and they fumble it. Exactly what you didn't want to have happen. I feel like Coach Craig probably is going to second guess that move to try to run the ball up the middle there.
So Sonora looking at another 6 points tacked on after McDonald's fumble deep inside their own territory.
Field goal kickers out on the field, Keith.
That it is, and we do not see Harris coming out, so I'm
Nope.
assuming they're going for a field goal.
Yes, they are.
And actually, they will have Harris line up under center. So
Okay.
they're going for 6. The snap, the give, touchdown. Escalon High School. Luke Anderson's second TD of the night. And just like that, D-Patch, we're going to start the second half with a 3-score lead for Escalon High School.
Yeah, pending the extra point, it'll be 28-6 here, Keith. And I mean, with just a minute 27, it was 14-6, and we were talking about how this was a good, close game, and all of a sudden, Escalon puts it together, scores 2 touchdowns in 1 minute.
So Barrientos set to take the extra point and snap.
Snaps back. Kicks up.
PAT is good. And that will end a first half filled with numerous penalties, a couple of turnovers. It has not been the cleanest half of football that head coach Andrew Beam would likely tell you it has been, but still, his talented Escalon Cougars are up 28-6 over the Sonora Wildcats here on NorCal Sports TV after one half of football. This game has been brought to you in part by Chicken Ranch Casino. Benton Robertson CPA, serving Tuolumne and Stanislaus County. Sonora Conference Center, grand opening in downtown Sonora. Go to www.sonoraconferencecenter.com for details. Soma Fitness Studios, Barry Electric. So once again, we will head into halftime now. The score at half, the Escalon Cougars 28, the Sonora High Wildcats 6 here on NorCal Sports TV.
We welcome you back here as the halftime show progresses. Keith Jogonatis, Dustin Pageant here on NorCal Sports TV. About 12 minutes left here at halftime, and D-Padge, we wanted to see this high-powered offense here at Escalon, losing in the San Joaquin Section Division 5 semifinals last year against their in-league rival Hilmar, and it looks like they're right on track to go right back to where they wanted to go this season from last year.
Yep, they're going to head up to 3-0 here tonight, Keith, unless we see a crazy second half. But a great start to their season offensively and defensively.
Right you are, as Luke Anderson with a couple of touchdowns. We'll thank some of our sponsors here. Sonora Conference Center, grand opening in downtown Sonora. 4 unique rooms available for hourly and daily rentals. Large classroom, professional conference room, event and party hall, and event and podcast room. Learn more at www.sonoraconferencecenter.com or text it to 833-247-6338.
The Escalon Cougar Varsity Spirit Squad under the direction of Katie San Julian. Great job, ladies.
Dustin, I need that chip. Bench here. Sure. Give me this bench. Okay. Cameron!
I appreciate you letting me use it.
Yeah, no problem.
They should be a little more equipped for us here.
Well,
Where's your phone at?
like 5 minutes and then I came back.
Our hotspot was
We welcome you back here to Escalon High School, where the score after one full half of football is 28-6 in favor of the hometown team, Cougars of Escalon High School, over the visiting Sonora Wildcats. Keith Jogananis alongside Dustin Pageant on the call with you tonight. And partner, like we mentioned, Escalon High School, high-powered offense, high-powered running attack. Luke Anderson, 2 touchdowns on the ground so far. Mr. Caden Christensen on the flat with a touchdown reception. But penalties have been the name of the game, and they're still up 22 points. And with all these penalties, over 10 in the first half.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen an affair such as that before, where it would be penalties, that many penalties, and having a 22-point lead. It's kind of an oddity for sure here, Keith. And you know, Coach Beam is in the locker room right now telling his boys, "Great job, we're doing good. Happy to have a 22-point lead. Great finish to the half." But we have to shore up those penalties because, as you mentioned earlier here in the first half, Keith, if you're playing your division rivals or the top team in the league or a better opponent than Sonora, these penalties aren't going to cut it.
Wanted to get you a score update on one game going on here on NorCal SportsTV. We've got 4 action-packed games on our docket tonight as Ripon up 14-7 on Somerville. They're nearly done with the first half in that contest, so that's an interesting game because both teams 1-1 looking to get into the the hunt with their leagues, and so we'll keep you up to date with that one as the game progresses. But back here at Escalon High School, 28-6, and you talked about it. Andrew Beam, second year as head coach. These first 2 seasons, he's done an excellent job with this program as far as winning, as far as the culture, and this is a program that is used to winning. 8 section titles from 1993 to 2010. They've won 3 state championships during that time, 1993, 1996, and 2010. And here you are in 2019 with a new era at Escalon High School, but they're still pouring out the same results, winning.
Yeah, winning is what's most important at the end of the day. If your program is winning football games, you're in a good spot. And right now in this part of the season for Escalon, you're getting ready to start league play very soon. You want to shore up all of these problems they're having penalty-wise now. When they head into league play, they want to be a fundamentally sound football team, and that's something that they're not right here. Right now it feels like they're out there, they're doing 2 things. They're scoring a lot of points and they're having a lot of fun. That's great, but if you want to be a truly successful juggernaut team in this high school football Northern California region, Keith, you have to be fundamentally sound, and that's not that difficult. That's something you could pick up in practice. You can learn to be fundamentally sound. Those are things that these young high school players are constantly learning, and I feel like that's what Coach Beam needs to focus on with them over these next few weeks of practice is repeatedly just letting them know, like, you have to know what penalties are, what you're committing, how you're committing them, and to prevent that. To be fundamentally sound, it does not include committing 12 penalties in one half of football.
Well, regardless, even with the penalties, they're still up 28-6. That just shows you the amount of talent they have on this football team. On the flip side, Sonora High School 0-2, and here they find themselves once again in a big hole. And the last 2 times these teams have played each other, Dustin, it has both gone in the favor of Escalon High School, and they're in prime position to make it 3 in a row against Sonora tonight.
Yes, Keith, and another blowout as well. The other 2 games, as you were mentioning to me yesterday, I believe it was like a 78-10 differential or something like that. So the last couple of times these 2 teams have played has not been very close.
Right, you are, D-Padge, and as we go over some standings here, we will start in the Trans Valley League. That is the league that Escalon is in. You want to talk about competitive in this league, Dustin. There's literally 4 teams that are undefeated in this league so far, 2-0. Hillmar, who beat Escalon in the San Joaquin Section Division 5 semifinal last year. They're at 2-0. And right behind them is Ripon, who currently has a lead against Somerville in their contest. Livingston at 2-0. And then you've got Houston at 1-1, Riverbank at 0-2, Modesto Christian at 0-2. They're one of the games on our NorCal Sports TV lineup tonight as well. That's a very competitive league. In the Motherlode League, which is where Sonora is at, they're at 0-2, right at the bottom. Amador at 1-1, Somerville at 1-1. So that Somerville Ripon game, huge implications for both leagues in that regard. Calaveras, who Escalon beat this season, 0-1. Argonaut at 0-2, and it's Bret Hart 0-1 and Sonora at 0-2. So, we've got some games here in NorCal Sports TV tonight that are very, very fundamentally important for both of those leagues.
Yeah, the Motherlode League, that seems kind of awfully strange to see so many losses in there so far. Only 2 wins between 5 teams combined in 3 games. Rough go of it, but yeah, that all the more important for Somerville, who they can come out over Ripon Christian, I believe they're playing tonight. They'll come out at 2-1 and be first place in the division, Keith.
Well, you talk about Somerville, and they played a great game last week as we had, and as we convey onto the Escalon field here with our cameras, you see the quarterback right there, number 1, Ty Harris. Last week, 9 of 11, 126 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's got 2 touchdowns tonight, 1 to Christensen out in the flat, and the other one finding Trejo up the middle. And that touchdown, we could harp on that a little bit because, like you said, Dustin, earlier on, it was 14-6 Escalon High School. It looked like a close contest. A fumble by McDonald back in their own territory by Sonora, conveyed into points off the run up the gut by Anderson, and then touchdown catch up the middle to Trejo. So 2 big-time stops that resulted in turnovers that were conveyed into points by Escalon High School.
Yeah, it wasn't just the first touchdown, Keith. The second one was almost a head-scratcher because I was mentioning after the first touchdown that Escalon scored with 33 seconds left in the half. Sonora had the ball on their own 15-yard line. They're down by 15 points. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Instead of just taking a knee on the ball, letting it go into the halftime break at that point. They decided to run one play of offense, and that one play of offense came back to bite him. He got about a 10-yard gain up the middle, but then he just dropped the ball. It wasn't even a forced fumble, Keith. That was just a mental error, a blunder. And once you drop the ball there, you give Escalon 18 seconds to go 30 yards, and somehow they were able to get it done. They used their 2 timeouts perfectly. Clock managed very well and literally scored that touchdown, Keith, with 0 seconds remaining on the clock.
So, as you mentioned it, Dustin, some costly turnovers resulting in some touchdowns for Escalon High School. And, you talk about this team. I mean, we had to see it to believe it, and we've seen it. We believe it now. These guys are the real deal. There is a reason that Escalon High School is one of the better teams in the region, and there is a reason why this team has the potential once again to play deep this season come playoff time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I expect them to make a good run at getting back right to the semifinals like they were last year. This team here is going to be one to watch moving forward, and hopefully if we get the chance, maybe we'll get a chance to do one more game of theirs this year. Love to see this team play in a league game, Keith. That would be a very intriguing matchup. They seemingly got it all. They've got the offense, they've got the defense, they can run, they can throw. The only thing that they seem to be missing is the fundamentals. And again, as we've been saying all game, in a game versus a team that is a little bit more offensive powered, a little bit better of a matchup, that could come back to bite you if you're committing this many penalties. So second half, my key here, Keith, for Escalon is to see if they can cut those penalties down to under 5.
Escalon with a big matchup next week against Downey, and one could assume that they might overlook Sonora High School on their way to that matchup next week. That has not been the case. So we are almost set to start the second half of play here. 28-6, Escalon High School over Sonora here at home. And you talk about environments, you talk about the pageantry that is high school football. We've been all over the state D-Patch doing games for years, and this has been one of the most raucous crowds that we've had in a while. As you see the student section down there towards our right, they've been standing up, jumping down, going crazy the entire night. That's what the game is all about.
You know what? You couldn't have said it any better, Keith. Not only are the Escalon fans here having a good time, raucous, loud, they're giving away free T-shirts, they've got the cheerleaders, they've got their mascot, but we've got the Sonora fans traveling very strong. Their whole bleachers on the other side are almost full. And I tell you what, Keith, as you mentioned, yes, you and I have done dozens and dozens of football games over the years in Northern California area. Most of the time, the defense or the opposing team, the road team, may have 10 or 15 fans in the crowd. You're never going to see it this full. And Sonora is not like it's a close drive from here, Keith. It's about an hour and a half away from here. So you got to give the fans all the credit in the world. They love their high school football. Sonora is well known for being a high school football town. They haven't been very successful in recent years, but they love their football, Keith. And there's fans here. Everybody's out here enjoying a great Friday night of football.
And the Wildcat faithful have traveled very great, as you have mentioned, as Barrientos now back to kick it off to start the second half. Looks like Morgan is back to return it, as well as Bradford.
Both of them have had good returns here so far, Keith.
This one high and short. Returned, and that one not going for a whole lot, as that one fell right into the lap of McDonald.
But they're going to start the possession here on their 39-yard line. They'll love that. I mean, I do get the idea of kicking it short, kicking it away from their guys in the backfield, but even if they get a good return back there, Keith, they might not get it all the way out to the 40-yard line. So I kind of disagree with that kickoff there. Barrientos has a strong leg. He could have easily kicked it deep, but instead they give him a really short field here.
1st and 10 now. Crockett hands it up over the middle and driving down and for a little bit more than a big gain as Hernandez tackles the ball carrier down, and it's going to be 2nd and short now.
Keith, they'll take 6-7 yards on 1st down all day long. That's a very positive play there for them, and we've seen that quite a bit here in this game from both sides, just running the ball right up the middle. Something simple and easy football, nothing special about that, but, ground and pound can get the job done, Keith.
Sonora wasted no time as Crockett comes right back to the line of scrimmage. It's another handoff off the middle. It is a fumble on the play, but Sonora able to recover it. Costavili jumps on it immediately, so that'll bring up another third down here. And, you know, turnovers have been the name of the game. There have been more than a couple of fumbles for Sonora High School tonight, DPAJ, and they've resulted in points off turnovers. They resulted in, you know, recoveries for Escalon. They have not been able to take care of the football tonight.
No, not very well. And that play there was unfortunate because if they didn't fumble, they had an easy first down up the middle. The running back had a hole, was right where they needed to be. It was 2nd and 3. Now all of a sudden, instead of having a first down, you got a 3rd and 4 situation.
Third down now. Crockett under the gun. Back to pass. Looks left. Has it. Man wide open. Incomplete. Costavili dropped it. Plain and simple, DPAJ. That's 6 points.
That's painful to watch there, Keith. That's all I can say about that. That should have been a very easy touchdown.
And so now down 28-6, and the thought of giving Escalon High the football back down 22 points does not sit well with Brian Craig. But they will have no choice, and they will punt it. It looked for a minute like they were going to go for it. They will elect not to. Christensen will be back to return this punt.
Crockett's their punter as well, Keith.
Multi-talented. Crockett sends this one high into the sky, but not very far. And they will down it at the 45 of Escalon, as it was Bauer who just had to grab it.
Jeez, Keith, that's a 9-yard punt. My goodness.
So back comes Ty Harris, and this Cougar offense, they have been firing on all cylinders, DPAJ, 28 combined points in the first half. And what do you do here if you're Andrew Beam? Because the game is far from over. You're up 22 points. I would highly doubt he's going to take his foot off the gas pedal here.
I agree with you, but soon we may see that coming, maybe after a couple more touchdowns.
First down. Left side, the give is to Pinero. Pinero makes his way to the outside. He will step out of bounds after a gain about 3 or 4. Anderson was in the backfield as well, as that will move the chains a little bit. And this is what makes them so deadly, DPAJ. They've got Pinero on the outside. They've got Christensen they could send in motion on the flat. They've got Anderson up the middle. They are a jack of all trades with so many offensive weapons.
You nailed it on the head. And they've got Harris, too, who can also run the ball as a quarterback. So it's just they're coming at you from all angles, and it becomes a very tough job to play defense against this team.
2nd and 7, the give is to Anderson, and he will be wrestled down up the middle, but he will get more than a couple. McDonald makes the tackle. Got to be 3rd and short now here.
They're going to give him the first down on that there, Keith, and I thought I saw what you did. It looked like he was a couple yards short. I feel like they gave him a generous spot there.
Generous spot, it looked like indeed, and another first down result regardless, as Escalon High School now will line up in shotgun formation. Harris, hand off to Christensen. He will go up the middle and make his way as Morrow makes the tackle. 2nd and about 6.
Good tackle there, Keith. Took his legs out right from underneath him. That's textbook. That's what they teach you to do when you're going to tackle a running back.
Christensen with a receiving touchdown tonight. Has had a rushing touchdown in each of the first 2 games to start this season. 9-12 mark in the 3rd quarter. Harris back to pass. Looks right. Ball's up in the air. Intercepted. It's going to be Bauer who picks it off the tip pass.
Great play there from Bauer, Keith. You know what the best part about it was is he didn't see it. He turned around and the ball kind of happened to fall right into his hands.
Pass intended for Pinero. Ball gets tipped up in the air, and a great instinct by Bauer, who, as you mentioned at DPAJ, that ball was a little behind him, I guess you could say, if you're looking in quarterback terms. But regardless, a much-needed turnover here for Sonora High School.
Yeah, that was very key for the momentum. Let's see if we get the replay here for you. And then once the ball was tipped, that should be an easy pick. But, yeah, behind him, a very tough play to make.
So now Crockett back under center. Hands it up middle. Trugging along, as this is going to be McDonald.
Face mask penalty. Either that or a horse collar, one of the two. But the way they tackled him there was a little bit harder than needed to be. And it looked seemingly maybe another penalty here on Escalon.
So we will wait and see for the penalty here, and they're going to wave the flag off. They'll put it back in their pocket. So one of the few times tonight that Escalon does not get a penalty despite the flag being thrown. And If you are Andrew Bream, you like to see that after all the penalties you've had tonight.
Definitely. And the Wildcats will be happy with that play, too. You get 6 yards on first down. That was a tough run up the middle.
Second down now. Crockett under center. Hands it off middle. Actually keeps it himself. And he is wrestled down in the backfield. As it looks to be Tom who came up with the tackle on that play. And last week, D-Patch, Tom with 8 tackles. So Tom, a vital part of this defense, as he gets a tackle right there for a loss.
Tom is the one we saw with the block that sprung Christensen for the touchdown here earlier in the game as well. And if you noticed there, that ball was almost ripped out of Crockett's hands. It would have been a turnover and a fumble in an unlikely way. He had to do everything he could to hold on to that ball going to the ground on that sack.
So Sonora back to the scene of their crimes for the most part on third down. They will try to convert this one and keep this drive alive. Keeping it is going to be Crockett. He gets close to the first down, but will be not enough as we get a tackle.
4th and 2 here, Keith. What do? I mean, you don't want to go for it, not get it. You don't really want to punt. The last punt was only a 9-yard punt from Crockett. It's kind of like a, what do we do here?
Well,
tough decision for Coach Craig.
Decisions will have to be made for Brian Craig and his Sonora offense here. You're down 22 points, and the third quarter almost more than halfway done. Crockett is the punter, D-Patch, so we got to wait and see how they line up to figure out what they want to do here, and it looks like they will go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, I thought that they would, just because it's short enough. It's only a couple of yards. They may even just run it up the gut here and try to pound the 2 yards out.
They line up in a goal line set.
Couple of hard counts.
Up the middle,
Nice.
They get the first down and more.
Excellent play there for the Wildcats. Give them the credit. I like what Crockett does. He's composed. He got an offsides on the hard count earlier. He gives 2 hard counts here and was able to hand the ball off. And on a 4th and 2, Keith, they get about 5 yards, easily get the first down.
McKernan with the first down as we have an injured Escalon High player down on the ground. And it is going to be, from our vantage point, Camacho, who was a team captain. That is a big blow to this defense with Camacho hurt, who led the team in tackles last week, D-Patch.
Yeah, Camacho, they definitely want to get him back in there. He doesn't look like he's shaking up too bad, so I think we'll see him back on the field real soon. He's right over here grabbing some water, not hunched over in pain or anything.
So Camacho will try to shake off that bruise as Sonora High converts on the 4th down attempt. Crockett under center now on 1st and down. Up the middle again, which has been their bread and butter on this drive. McDonald for about a gain of 2.
I like what they've done here so far in the third quarter, Keith. I feel like if they had played this type of way in the first half, we'd have a closer game. You know, they're taking their time, they're running the ball, they're getting positive things done. Haven't given up any points here in the second half, even got themselves a defensive stand and a turnover. So, you know, they went into the locker room and they focused up a bit. They said, we're not going to make this a blowout. We're going to try and battle these last 2 quarters, make this a close game.
Crockett hands it off again, up the middle.
First down. Nice run there. Was that McKinnon again?
McKernan,
yes.
Like you mentioned. Pinero with the tackle, but it'll be after a first down. So,
they're going to mark him a little bit short there, Keith. 3rd and about a half yard.
Yes, they are. So it's going to be 3rd and short here. They do not get the first down on the handoff from McKernan, so they're once again on 3rd down, Sonora High.
Do you see them doing anything other than running to McKernan here? I don't. No.
Well, we found out the answer as it looks like they've got the first down just from our vantage point.
Barely. Did not get much positive ground, but they didn't need much. They only needed maybe 6 inches there. Wow, we see them flip into 4th.
And it's going to be 4th down, and we assumed it was going to be a first down, but not the case. They are just short, and they are literally short by the nose of the football, D-Patch.
Right, and you either do the same thing here, give it to McKernan again, or you let Crockett go up the middle. This should be an easily attainable first down. The only way that you're not going to get it is if you don't win the battle at the line at the point of contact. If the defensive ends and the defensive line are able to break through the backfield on the snap, that's the only way they're going to get this stop here. You only need, 2 inches?
as Crockett will keep it himself on the 4th down, and it's going to be 1st down for the Wildcats. So Crockett this time on the quarterback sneak will get the 4th down conversion. And, you know, I agree. They're moving the ball. They're making good progress, D-Patch, but you've got under 5 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. You're down 22 points. At some point, they're going to have to speed up this offense. They're going to try and make a comeback here because you've got 20 points to make up.
I agree with you. However, what we know about these two teams and where they're at right now, I don't even know if they're necessarily playing for a win. They're just trying to get some momentum. They're trying to get some positivity, Keith. Getting a touchdown here, maybe some defensive stops here. I don't think they expect to win right now.
That would be nice, as that is also nice, seeing Crockett up the middle for more than 5, and that'll bring up 2nd and short on the next play.
Best drive of the game here for them. They've gotten 2 4th down conversions, their 3rd 4th down conversion of the day. That's something after this game they could look forward to, and a positive point. You know, when you convert 3 4th downs, that's a good thing to do in a football game.
So Crockett once again with 3:35 to go in the 3rd quarter takes it himself, and we've seen a lot of progress here from Mr. Nick Crockett, the senior quarterback. He can really move, D-Patch. 2nd and short. Crockett pitches it out to the outside. Costavilli, 1st down as he makes his way through the right side for Sonora. So Costavilli, who's also had some great runs, he gets another 1st down conversion there.
Yeah, give him about 17 yards, not just a short run like they've been doing. That was they opened the field up a little bit there on the pitch, and that's the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen them successfully do that pitch play and getting it done. Well, they had one earlier for about 22 yards. Now there's a 17-yard scamper. One thing we haven't seen is a completed pass yet here for Crockett. Not one completed pass here in this game. Let's see if they can get him going a little bit in the air.
Under 3 minutes to play in the 3rd. Crockett keeps it himself up the middle as it's Nick Crockett who will move forward. More than a couple on that one, and it'll be about 2nd and 5 on the next play.
Yeah, great play there, and I see his head coach on the sideline barking at him like, hey, good job. That was good effort up the middle there for Crockett. But again, we're getting down nearish the red zone. You're going to have to throw the ball at some point. I don't feel like that if you just continue to keep running, the Cougars are going to allow a touchdown here. They're expecting the run. Crockett, like I said, no completed passes. So you got to find a way to throw the ball down the field.
Morgan said in the Union Democrat this week they have to cut down on the mistakes. They have made some mistakes tonight, but they've cut down on them on this drive for sure. Up the middle as they will stall at the line of scrimmage. And it looks like it was McKernan who had it.
It's going to make it 3rd and about 3 or 4. So they did get a positive gain there. And, again, they've ran the ball every play of this drive. You got 3rd and 4. Probably going to do it again, and this is likely 4-down territory. So really, you've got 2 plays here to get 3-4 yards on the ground. If I were them, I'd feel kind of comfortable about that. They've been running the ball well. So the Cougars need to step up their run defense. You see they got 8 in the box here. They're expecting it.
Crockett tries to go to the right side, and that one stalls, and that'll bring up 4th down now for Sonora.
See how close they give him there.
Hernandez makes the tackle.
It's going to be, 4th and about 1.5 yards, 2 yards. So, again, a positive play. The 3 runs that they just had there were good. Now it puts you in a 4th down and makeable. They're 2 for 2 on this drive on 4th down conversions, Keith. Can they get number 3?
1:04 to play in the 3rd quarter, and as you mentioned, partner, D-Patch, we'll see if they can make it 3 4th down conversions on this drive. Crockett lining up under center.
Really ate the clock as well on this drive, too. 6 minutes off the clock alone.
Crockett up the middle. The defense for Escalon saying they didn't get it.
Looks like there was a fumble as well. Trying to figure out who recovered the ball. Looks like it'll be a turnover.
Turnover indeed. It is a fumble like you mentioned, Padge, as Anderson recovers the fumble. Another fumble for Sonora High School tonight, and Escalon will take the ball over.
Yeah, you know what, that play, if they had handed it off to their lead back, they would have had the 1st down, but Crockett kept it. Was not the right decision there. 4th and 2, the lead back had what he needed, and they tried to get a little tricky with that play, and it did not benefit them.
42 seconds remaining in the 3rd. Harris up to Quintez, who will try to go back to the line of scrimmage.
That may
Taylor
be
making the tackle.
Maybe the final play of the quarter here. Depends on how fast or slow they want to play. Play clock is off.
So we'll wait and see how Andrew Beam wants to play this out. His team comfortably ahead, 22 points here.
Yeah, they're not going to run another play. They're just hanging out in the huddle right here. And why would you? You got a 22-point lead. It's early in the season, non-conference game. You want to save injuries. That's the key here. They may snap it. Yes,
Harris will snap it. Drops back to pass. Throws right. He's got Trejo down the sideline. And that will be the final play of the third quarter. A comfortable lead for Escalon, 28-6 up against Sonora, as it looks like for the time being the Cougars on the fast track to 3-0 to start this season here on NorCal Sports TV. And we'd like to take a minute to thank some of our sponsors here tonight. Sonora Conference Center, grand opening in downtown Sonora. 4 unique rooms available for hourly and daily rentals, large classroom, professional conference room, event and party hall, and even a podcast room. Learn more at www.sonoraconferencecenter.com or text it to 833-247-6338. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, Escalon High School up 28-6 at home against the visiting Sonora Wildcats. And we talked about it earlier, D-Pad, a tale of two teams. Escalon looking for a section championship. They're looking to go to 3-0. And Sonora, like you mentioned, they're just trying to get some experience. They haven't won a game thus far, but they made some good progress here in the second half with that long drive that stalled, but it was a good drive. First down now, Harris under center. Hands it up off the middle. Gain of a couple, as it looks like it was Anderson on the carry.
Now, Keith, do you see how important those 2 touchdowns in the last minute of the first half were? Escalon hasn't scored any points here in the second half. This could still be a 14-6 game, you know? I mean, this game is a lot closer than the score is showing us right now.
Brian Hale checking in off the sidelines for Escalon. Has seen some more playing time here, Hale has, on offense. 2nd and 9, and yeah, like you mentioned, as we'll get back to it on that next play. Harris hands it off. This is going to be Christensen down the left side. He will get a couple, and that will bring up about 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, depending on your vantage point. But as McDonald makes the tackle, but you mentioned the D-Patch. I mean, Sonora, they made great strides, but still, these turnovers, they've talked about it. They got to cut down on the mistakes. The mistakes have killed them all season so far.
Yeah, that's something that they've got to do, you know, especially in a game when you're overmatched. You know, this game could have been a little closer, but the turnover at the end of the first half was really hurtful. And even that last drive here, you had a really good drive, best drive of the game, and you stalled out a little bit short on a 4th and 2 with a fumble.
So 3rd and 5 now. Harris back to pass, pump fake, throws a bomb downfield. That pass is incomplete, intended for Trejo down the sideline, and that was great coverage down the field by Bradford, the defensive back.
Amazing defense there, Keith. It was exact point of when the ball landed is when he went for that defensive bat. And the difference between the pass interference was a split second there. And that'll lead to a punt. And, you know, here we go again. That's the second drive that's stalled out for Escalon here in the second half.
So,
are they going
4th down, and it looks like Harris and company will go for it here on 4th down.
Or maybe he's just going to step back and punt here, Keith. I don't see them going for it here. That wouldn't be a very smart. Yeah, he's punting.
And Harris will punt it. As
Wow.
that ball rolls down inside the 20, and Christensen will down it around the 18-yard line.
They had nobody back. They were not expecting the punt, even though, you know, seemingly on a 4th and long, you know, with a 22-point lead, there's no reason for Coach Beam to go for it there. You should have put at least your cornerback back in the backfield there to have somewhat of an opportunity. But, hey, you know what? They'll take that, and I will say this to you, Keith. If they finish the rest of this game, the Wildcats do, and don't give up any more points, they could take that as a positive moment moving forward into their next game. Escalon team scored more than 50 points in both their games so far, so giving up only 28 right now doesn't look so bad.
So Sonora will try to gain some more experience and some more positivity here on the offensive side of the football. Crockett pitches it left side. Faust will take it up down that left side for about a couple. Be 2nd and 7 on this next play. And you got to give it to Sonora. They ran the football extremely well in the second half, even though it hasn't, you know, converted to touchdowns or field goals or whatever kind of points you want to, you know, base it off of. They've had good plays.
Right. So far, the second half, I mean, they have been slightly the better team right now.
Under 10 minutes to play here in the fourth and final quarter from Escalon High School. And Sonora just trying to end this on a positive note. Crockett goes inside, breaks a couple of tackles, and he is finally wrestled down inside the hash marks. And it's Camacho, who was banged up on a couple of drives ago, and he is back on the field. And good to see him back on the field, D-Padge, and making a tackle there.
Yeah, definitely. They need that guy back there. He's glue, and he's one of their captains. And, you know, I got to mention, I love what I've been seeing from Crockett here tonight, Keith. You know, since he's completed no passes, he knows that the defense knows that too. He knows that they're expecting the run every single time, yet he's finding a way to just battle. You know, even when he runs the ball, he's getting those extra couple hard-fought yards, and he's just going out there giving his full effort tonight.
Crockett bounces to the outside. He cuts it back. Crockett's still going, and
first down.
Looks to be
that was a first down.
A gain of a couple, so it'll be second down now. And Crockett right there with great instincts, D-Padge. He saw a slew of purple jerseys, and he cut it back inside. And, man, he was dead to rights.
Right, and what would have been a 2-yard gain, give him an 8-yard gain. And that's what I was just saying right before that play. He's just been crafty out there. He's doing the best thing that he could possibly do, knowing that he's having no success throwing the ball. And that's one thing I expect Coach Craig to work on moving forward. You know, you got to focus on your wide receivers, and you're running some routes in practice because you've got the running game down. You seemingly know what you're doing, but they haven't completed one pass here tonight, Keith.
Second down now. Crockett back to pass. Evades the pressure. Steps up. Still on the move. Crockett, he's got a first down and more. Gonzalez on the tackle, but not before. Crockett evades the pressure, steps up in the pocket, D-Padge, and took off for a gain of a first down.
See, this is what Coach Beam needs to tell his secondary. Don't fall for any type of movement from Crockett that looks like he's throwing the ball down the field. So that looked like it may have been a throw. He steps back to make it a throw, but he hasn't completed one yet. So you need to play up in the box. Don't get fooled by that. And they did get fooled there. And once Crockett saw that they were backed up a little bit, he took off immediately and got him about, 9 yards there.
Nick Crockett has been elusive on this drive here with 7:53 to go. Crockett going to keep it himself again. Met by the defensive line for a gain of about 1 or 2. And on that one was Camacho as well as a couple others, as long as Alonzo Teixeira as well.
Keith, this second half is actually very intriguing for me. This is exactly the type of game that they wanted to play. If they had played this way for the whole game, they may have been able to find a way to come out on top. Because they've given up no points here in the second half. They've controlled the clock, as I was mentioning to you on the car right up. That's what they needed to do, control the clock. And this second half, they've doubled up the time of possession for Escalon. Escalon's only had 2 possessions, 1 turnover, and one first down, and then a punt. So they've only held the ball for about 3 minutes here in the second half.
You have a great point, D-Patch. As that one goes nowhere. As that one went to Fernandez, who could not go anywhere. And Camacho once again with the second tackle on the second play after the first tackle of this drive.
3rd and 5 here. And again, as you mentioned at the end of the third quarter when the clock was running low, if they wanted a chance to maybe win this game, they were going to have to push it down the field quicker. When I mentioned back to you, I don't think they were trying to win this game. I didn't mean that they don't want to win, but at this point of the game, the way that things were going, it seemed like that they were more focused on just positive plays, maybe getting some points on the board. And here you go again. They're taking another 6-minute drive.
Crockett under center will pitch it out. That one is met with a slew of Escalon defenders. And it'll be 4th down once again as this Escalon defense has played pretty well tonight, D-Pads. They've been overshadowed by the turnovers, or the penalty, But other than that, they have been lights out.
All season long. They've only given up 13 points on the season. And that last play there was a 3rd and 5, Keith. I didn't like the misdirection pitch try there. They should have just ran the ball right up the gut. You might have gotten the 5 yards, but you surely would have gotten some of it. Now it makes it into a play here where you may have to try a throw, and he hasn't completed one yet. Let's see if this can be Crockett's first completed pass of the game.
4th down now. Crockett back to pass. Goes downfield. That one is too high for his receiver. Great coverage by Souza, the defensive back, and it'll be a turnover on downs for Escalon. Bradford could not haul that one in. Too high.
That was way too high for him there, Keith. And Crockett's just got to be a little bit more accurate with his ball. He actually got the one-on-one that he was looking for. That would have been a first down if the ball was caught. Again, another decent drive for them, stalled out, and I feel like that's because they're a one-way team right now, Keith. They're not having anything successful in the air, and when you're just running the ball every time, it makes it that much easier for your defense to know what to do against you.
We are about to clock under 5 minutes in the fourth quarter as Anderson will take it up the middle. And really, just you talk about this Escalon offense, D-Patch. If they wanted to, they could easily have scored 30-plus points tonight. What is one thing you see that has made them, barring anything crazy, going to 3-0 this season, what has made them so explosive, in your opinion?
I would say their running backs tonight, Christensen and Anderson, have been catalysts. Christensen has caught the ball well, ran the ball well. Anderson's gone up the gut. They're a great tandem, Keith, and it's very tough to stop those two young men when they're doing that. As you see right there, Anderson makes me look good because he does exactly what I said is he puts the ball up the gut. He's a great up-the-middle runner.
Anderson with the bruising run up the middle for a first down as we're going to get a whistle on the ground as a injured Sonora High defender on the field. As you see here on the replay, D-Patch, Anderson just look out. Boom. Going through everybody.
Yeah, it's like a bowling ball out there. He reminds me of a Tyrone Wheatley type. Big boy. You could tell he's going to be a big boy when he gets older. Call him a big boy now. He'll be a big man when he gets older.
Big man down the line. But right now, Escalon High School looking like one of the big boys in high school football in the area. 3-0 on the season after tonight. Like we mentioned, barring anything crazy. And they've got a big matchup with Downey next week. Two powerhouse teams. And we're going to see how that one plays out down the line. But I mean, you talk about it, Andrew Beam, second year as head coach, and he really has brought back the tradition that is winning at Escalon High School. They've got 3 state championships since 93, 96, and 2010. And, I mean, you talk to anybody around campus, and they talked about the way the loss was last year, how painful it was, and they don't want to go through something like that again. So they want to make sure this year they got all their ducks in a row, and they want to stay healthy, but barring anything, they're right in the driver's seat to get back to where they want to go.
You know, one game I'm looking forward to this season to watch is that Escalon-Hillmar game, the rematch from last year's semifinal. That'll be a good one, Keith.
Yes, as Hillmar defeating Escalon last year in the semifinals, as we mentioned, and they're in the same league, so they cannot avoid each other. As we talked about it, that Trans Valley League is loaded, and it's not just Escalon and Hillmar undefeated. It's Ripon, it's Livingston. It's a tough league so far. First down. Harris up the middle to Anderson, who trucks forward as he met McDonald right at the line of scrimmage and went right through him.
Yeah, Coach Beam right now and the Cougars, they're trying to run this clock, Keith. They're not doing anything out here to try to score more points. And we very well be in for a scoreless second half of football here, Keith.
As Anderson gets a step up after he hits the turf, and his teammate reaching out to lend a hand, and Anderson right back up, and Escalon right back up at the line of scrimmage here on 2nd and long. 4:05 to play. Play action. Now they finally hand it off. Big run down the left side as it's Caleb Christensen making his way down the field. First down for Escalon High. Caleb Christensen, 195 rushing yards last week, 3 touchdowns. The week before, 117 yards and a touchdown. And Christensen and Anderson, this monster running attack they have is just so deadly.
Yeah, I mean, between those two guys, Harris hasn't had to do really anything tonight. Just hand the ball off.
As Harris tries to hand it off there, but the play is whistled dead, and we're going to get a timeout from Escalon High School here at the 3:41 mark of the fourth quarter, up 22 points against Sonora here on NorCal Sports TV. Keith Jogananis alongside Dustin Padgett and D-Padge, week 3 of the high school football season. You know, we're starting to see who are contenders and who is rebuilding, and Escalon High School, one of the contenders, that's for sure.
Definitely, and Sonora is in a rebuilding year, which we knew that coming into this game, so.
This game has been brought to you in part by Chicken Ranch Casino, Tuolumne County Transit, Benton Robertson CPA, serving Tuolumne and Stanislaus County. Soma Fitness Studios and Sonora Conference Center. Grand opening in downtown Sonora. Go to www.sonoraconferencecenter.com for details. So now 1st and 10 off the run by Christensen as Harris comes to the line of scrimmage.
See if they continue to just run the ball here and try and run this clock.
Harris back to pass. Left side. He's got a receiver. That one's caught, and it's Trejo walking right into the end zone for 6 more Escalon points for a touchdown.
Well, that must be why they called the timeout, Keith. They said, you know what, we're tired of running the clock. We want to get a touchdown.
And that they do, as Mr. Cadence Trejo, have a day, young man, his second receiving touchdown of the contest. And you see on the replay D-Pad, that's just textbook.
Oh, yeah, perfect pitch and catch there. Escalon showing why they're so high-powered of an offense.
Escalon High School has shown their muscle tonight throughout the contest. Barrientos PAT is good.
Well, just about the type of affair we expected, 35-6.
If there was any doubt, if there was any question about Escalon High School coming into this season, well, we've got the answer. They're the real deal.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be a good team this year. It's going to be exciting to see where they finish out. On the other side of the ball, Sonora played a little bit better this week than their first 2 games, so they're slightly improving.
Sonora High School down 35-6 here on the other side of the football. Brian Craig just trying to motivate this team to go in the right direction, and obviously, D-Pad, it's hard. You're down 35-6 with 3:34 to play, and you're not going to win the game, obviously. That's a foregone conclusion at this point, but you want to end the game on the right note.
Right, so they would love to get a touchdown here, finish this game off positively in that way. But even if they don't, maybe get a few more first downs here. I would have said before that last touchdown their goal was to hold them scoreless here in the second half, but since they weren't able to do that, Keith, they would love to at least tie in the second half. If they get a touchdown and an extra point here, they'll finish at 7-7 in the second half.
So it's Barrientos, not Galvin, kicking this ball off to Sonora. And this one is a boomer. Morgan catches it in stride. He'll lose the football, picks it back up, and he is wrestled to the ground. As that was great coverage on the kickoff by Brian Hale, number 5.
Yeah, that could have been a disaster there. Morgan dropped the ball, and I know the last thing they want to do here is make it turn over and let any more points come across, Keith.
Well, there have not been any points converted off these pretty long and, grinded out drives by Sonora, but you got to give credit where credit's due to Nick Crockett, the quarterback. He has helped them play mistake-free football in the second half here, which is something they have not done in the first half, but the last drive resulted in a fumble, so they're going to try to keep it on their side of the ball this time as we're going to get what looks to be a false start.
Yep. Yeah, Crockett's
or actually, it'll actually be encroachment on Escalon.
Good hard counting in there for Crockett. That's the second time he's got him. Crockett's having himself a good game. Problem is, Keith, he hasn't completed any passes. That's the one thing that he's missing. And as a quarterback, that's a killer. You got to complete some passes. Yeah, he's doing good on the ground, but you're not the running back.
So, first down now. As Crockett hands it up the middle. And it'll be second down and about 8 after this one, D-Pad. And if you are Brian Craig, your 3rd straight loss, what are you saying to this team after the game?
Keep on battling. Let's work hard in practice. We got to find a way to start completing some passes.
Crockett pitches it on the outside, and it's going to be Bauer. And so Owen Bauer gets a gain of a first down there. And like you said, D-Pad, you got to make sure you keep battling and keep fighting. That's the point.
Yeah, you can't give up. I mean, this is high school football. That's the last place you could ever give up. This is about learning and having fun. That's the most important thing at this level. Getting better, becoming fundamentally sound players. And on both sides of the ball, there's a lot of improvement to be done. The Cougars, yes, they're a great offensive power team. They play great defense, but the special teams, their penalties is killing them. So they got to shore that up moving forward as well, too.
About to be under 2 minutes after this play as Crockett drops back to pass, fires a laser down the field, incomplete.
Almost his first completion.
And that pass intended for the receiver, Eights, who could not put it up as Brewer's also in the vicinity of the football, and it'll be second down now. And like you talked about, they're just trying to get some experience here, D-Page, and get better. And that's what, Brian, Craig, and his staff will have to remind them throughout the week of practice. And, you'd like to see them get a win in the near future. That's the name of the game right now.
Maybe an offsides there on the snap.
Pitch to the outside, as it's going to be a gain of a couple after a first down, but not before some yellow flags thrown on the field there. Tackle made by Corral, number 16.
Might have been a hold.
Personal foul.
It's going to be on the offense here.
I don't know. Personal foul of some sort. It might have been a late hit.
Well, regardless, it is a personal foul on the Wildcats, and that knocks them back way deep into their own territory, D-Page. So the run is, thrown off and negated.
That was first down the play that they had there, too. Now it's going to be second and a mile.
So Sonora trying to finish this one out on a high note. We still have not got what the personal foul was, but regardless, it is a personal foul, so it'll be second and 13 now. Sonora just trying to end this game on a positive note. Pitch out to the left. Faust down the sideline. Faust cuts it back inside, and Faust is going deep into enemy territory as he is right near the 30-yard line as Fitzgerald making the tackle. Under 2 minutes to play now, and so finally a big run here for Sonora High School. D-Pad, you like to see that?
Right, and it makes me curious when he got tackled there by Fitzgerald, what the storyline is there, because the fans all over here started cheering immensely for that tackle, and I'm not quite sure why.
First and 10. Misdirection. They go up the middle, and that is close to a first down itself, that play. Costavilli with a gain of about 10.
It's going to be about second and 1 there.
It was Parks with a tackle.
Final minute here, Keith.
1:06 to play. Sonora trying to end this on a high note. They pitch it out to the outside of Costavilli. Costavilli moving and grooving. He is down towards the goal line. Fontes on the tackle. So Sonora with a chance to punch one more in before this one is over.
That would be huge for them moving forward into next week. As I was just saying, that would have been an even second half here if they score a touchdown with an extra point.
Crockett under center. Up the middle to McKernan. McKernan, touchdown.
Great drive for them here, Keith. Great way to finish the game for the Wildcats. Let's see if they go for 2 here. Doesn't look like it.
So Sonora will punch it in, off the touchdown by McKernan up the middle, after the great run by Costavilli to get them to the 2-yard line. And so now they will look to tack on the extra point.
Riley Keister on for the point after.
Keister back for the extra point.
Kicks up.
PAT is good. So Sonora wanted to end this game on a high note. They punch it in with 37 seconds remaining in regulation. It is now 35-13, Escalon over Sonora, and 3-0, Escalon. They have just shown their muscle, but like you said, D-Patch, if they want to be a great team, they've got to cut down on the penalties. Great teams do not have these kind of penalties. That's the only thing I can think of that's going to hold this team back.
I agree with you. And it's not just the total penalties they had, but it's the fact that they had a lot of penalties duplicated. The one in specific that stood out to me was that illegal substitution twice in the first half. I think the coach is going to be not very happy about that because that's something as simple as having the right number of players in the huddle.
So Andrew Beam, head coach here at Escalon High School.
Do we see an onside kick here, Keith? Why not, right? I mean, may as well.
I mean, hey, if I don't know, but it is a possibility, Patch. You never know. We'll wait and see.
Nope.
And they do not onside kick it. This one going back as it is going to be Souza who returns this, and he'll just take a knee at their own 10-yard line, and Harris will likely come out on the field now and take a knee for the final play of the contest, or one of the last two final plays of the contest, and we will wait and see.
They just ran the clock anyways. I think both teams maybe agreed to it, but I've never seen that in my life, Keith, where they both just agreed to run the clock out. There was no snap taken.
It looks like they will run the clock as they line up to shake hands, and as the clock ticks down here, Escalon High School showing their muscle at home. They go now to a 3-0 record on the season. The final score here from Escalon High School, the Cougars 35, the Wildcats of Sonora High School 13, and D-Pad, you talk about it, just their ability tonight to show their offensive prowess. Multiple penalties, multiple miscues when it came to the discipline side of the football field, but they still have been able to score 35 points tonight and walk away with an easy win.
The key to this game was the end of the first half, Keith, that last 127 where they put up 14 points. Without that, this game could have finished a little bit differently than it did, but you got to give the Cougars all the credit in the world. Once they gave up that first touchdown to the Wildcats, we were speaking about it. 14-6 game, unexpected. We expected a blowout, but all of a sudden the Cougars wake up and throw up 14 points at the end of the first half. Tell us about how important that was, Keith.
Well, you mentioned it, and, this team has the ability to just turn on the jets and the afterburners unlike any team in the region, and they did it again tonight, and you saw it. They got a couple turnovers deep in enemy territory. They punched them in. They did what they were supposed to do when the time came for it, and that is why, once again, tonight they are tacking on their third straight win to start the season. And that'll do it here for NorCal Sports TV. For my partner, Dustin Paget, I'm Keith Jogananis. We want to thank some more of our sponsors before we head out of here. Chicken Ranch Casino, Tuolumne County Transit, Benton Robertson CPAs. Benton Robertson CPAs serving Tuolumne and Stanislaus County. The Sonora or Soma Fitness Studios, Sonora Conference Center, grand opening in downtown Sonora. Go to www.sonoraconferencecenter.com for details. And Barry Electric, as well as Mountain Mike's Pizza in Escalon. And that will officially do it. Once again, for my partner Dustin Paget, I'm Keith Joganaw, signing off for all of us here at NorCal Sports TV. The final score: the Escalon Cougars 35, the Sonora Wildcats 13. We'll see you next time here on NorCal Sports TV. Have a good one.